25 years of media excellence. Good evening and welcome to Newsnight. In this edition, Ghana's travel ban on countries with more than 200 cases of COVID-19 bites hard amidst the prevention of 2 Italians from entering the country and the tales of stranded passengers at the Kotoka International Airport.
I just say, so now we'll take it to because I'm on for Russia. Any problem?
I had wanted to leave yesterday, but the flight was full.
I'm going to Germany, Berlin precisely. Maybe I'm going to extend for 2 months.
We check on our borders as well as residents in Bia East bordering towns to Cote d'Ivoire fear they are not protected from fast-spreading coronavirus.
People from Cote d'Ivoire, that's Ivory Coast, they just troop in without any checks. In fact, this has created fear and panic.
Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority suspends all crew vessels to Ghana while the Passport Office announces only emergency cases will be attended to. Also, PRC says it is investigating the recent power outages and voltage fluctuations in parts of the country, threatening sanctions against any utility in the power value chain.
From last Saturday to today, I have to stay out all night long.
In fact, it is not good at all. Today like this throughout, there was no light. Even a peswa, I didn't get it.
Mensah and the Manya Kamanya profits crank at 300 cities there. At least I said it.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Grid Company says a scheduled performance test is responsible for the outages experienced. They say it's been rectified. But what's the power situation in your area? Let us know.
And in business, government working on a stimulus package to support industries as the coronavirus hit the operations.
And later in sports, there will be no Euro 2020 as well as CHAN 2020 due to the coronavirus outbreak.
And Finance Minister announces 787 million Ghana cedis of locked-up funds of microfinance customers has been paid. We'll bring you details as the request of an additional 5 billion Ghana cedis is made.
An amount of about 5 billion has been released in a combination of cash and a 5-year amortized zero coupon bond to the receiver paying agent, Consolidated Bank of Ghana, to enable to settle the remaining outstanding claims.
We have all that and more in this edition of Newsnight. You want to join us with your thoughts and comment via WhatsApp, please do so. It's 0244-340-437. I am Emefa, Apawu.
And my name is Mensah. Newsnight is always brought to you by Puma Card from Puma Energy, cash-free convenience.
And Evans, we start off from the travel ban, and tonight that enforcement has begun. You know that countries with more than 200 cases of COVID-19, the ban affects. Now, this is part of measures to mitigate the spread of 6 COVID-19 cases recorded in Ghana. And the contact persons you've just put out is up to over 300. Now, ahead of the timeline set by the government, 2 men traveling from one of the worst-hit countries by the virus, which is Italy, were denied entry into the country. Information Minister Kojo Ponkrumah gave us this update earlier.
Last night, I think there were 2 Italians who were coming from the epicenter. And we got the confirmation of the details, even though the aircraft were in the air. We had to make arrangements at the airport to ensure that they do not get off the aircraft and B are returned to their originating destination. So though we are yet to hit the 1 p.m. timeline today, some soft enforcement has already commenced at our ports of entry.
So is there the likelihood that there will be a total ban on flights?
As the President said, the guidelines that have been given are subject to review at any point in time. At this stage, this is what we believe is appropriate to do, and this is how we are enforcing it at this stage.
So the ban is in force today, and my colleague Sheila Tamaklo has been to the Kotoka International Airport and came through with this report.
Contrary to expectation of seeing an empty ticketing office due to several travel restrictions across the globe, scores of disappointed persons had gathered at the ticketing office of the agents handling passengers of Air France and KLM. Their reason to either get back to Europe before the travel ban or alter their travel dates for the future.
I just say, and so now we'll take it to
Because I'm on rush, any problem.
I had wanted to leave yesterday, but the flight was full, and today the place is still packed. We have families overseas, and we need to get to them. I spoke to my daughter, who now says I should hold on because there's a ban movement.
I was here yesterday, and then I changed to the 10th of next month. But unfortunately, I was called by my employer to also extend the date.
Okay.
Yeah.
So which country are you heading towards?
I'm going to Germany, Berlin precisely. Maybe I'm going to extend for 2 months, for the next 2 months. Maybe I'll be going somewhere in May. Yeah, and my company is, we have different branches, and then they are trying to close down all the branches. So they asked me to stay back for some time and then be safe, because they feel that it's safe here.
Ghana for 10 months because I take it here 1 year.
I had wanted to extend my stay as the epidemic had worsened, but I was worried of the extra cost. However, when I got to KLM, they said there will be no extra charges due to the current situation.
Because of the situation now,
Country manager for KLM Air France says the airlines will be cutting 70 to 90% of flights to reduce the losses.
All flights will go via Amsterdam to the US. There is a flight ban between the US and Europe, so also there are no passengers. And I'm virtually flying empty as from this afternoon. Outbound flights Accra to Europe are full because everybody is planning to return to their home country. So on that part, you have seen our ticket office in the front, it is full. People are rushing off to their home country, and be it Amsterdam, be it Europe, be it I don't know where. It is estimated. Yesterday there was a message from our CEO, Mr. Alberts, that 70 till 90% of our flights will be cancelled to worldwide network. Because there is a ban on Far East, there are bans on the USA, within Europe you cannot travel anymore, and flights will be grounded because we simply don't have passengers.
Meanwhile, several other airlines have taken similar actions, all because of the coronavirus outbreak. These include Brussels Air, which has suspended its flights temporarily effective 21st of March. For Joy Business, Sheila Tamaklo reporting.
Now, Sheila is joining us from the Kotoka International Airport. She's been monitoring the situation there all day. She joins us on the line. So, Sheila, are you able to paint to us a picture of the situation at the Kotoka International Airport as we speak? Because you've been there from morning up until now. What have you seen?
Okay, so currently we are at the arrivals of the Kotoka International Airport, the Terminal 3. And just as we got in here, what we saw was a number of passengers who were actually being turned away. What I learned is they came with Ethiopian Airlines from one of the countries that have had the epidemic beyond 200. So these people had been turned back. So what I saw was they were being taken back through the immigration to board and go back. Yes.
So this airline that you talk about, which particular country is it coming from, have we been told now?
Unfortunately, I've not been able to establish which country, but clearly it was part of the countries that government described of having had more than 200 infections, for which reason they could not allow them inside.
Okay, but apart from this Ethiopian airline, I'm sure you've been working your sources and finding out which other airlines have been affected by this today since you've been there.
Okay, so right now, the airlines are yet to come in. As it's evening, so most of the airlines will be coming later in the evening. But what I am learning here from the managing director of the Ghana Airport Companies, they are strictly going to enforce this travel advisory. So definitely, if you're bringing passengers from any of these other places, they are not going to allow you in.
And you got the opportunity to interact with some passengers who are still, in spite of this ban, would want to travel out of the country. You know, what's been their issue? They've been sharing their frustrations with you.
Yes, some passengers had wanted to leave earlier or change their flight for a later date. But then I have here with me the managing director himself of the Ghana Airport Company Limited to probably answer a few of the questions for you. So kindly hold on.
We're grateful for your time, sir, here on Newsnight. So the travel ban kicks in today. In spite of this, my colleague has just told us about this Ethiopian airline that has just been turned away. Do we know which country in particular this airline was coming from? If you could confirm that to us first.
Well, no, Ethiopian Airlines coming to Ghana from Addis Ababa. But the issue, the ban, talks about anyone who is not a Ghanaian resident or a Ghanaian, a Ghana passport holder, or anyone who does not have permanent residency in Ghana and coming from one of the endemic places, which is defined by any country, coming from any country that has recorded more than 200 COVID-19 cases. So for such an individual, you are not allowed into the country starting from this afternoon. And therefore, when the flight came, all the people that fitted the criteria of not being residents and coming from an endemic country were turned back. Small flights. We have people on Ethiopian, we have people on Emirates, and we have one person on Delta Airlines.
But this directive was put out on Sunday, but the concern is that was there adequate communication to these airlines prior to the enforcement of the ban today?
Yes, there was adequate information. We have a NOTAM. NOTAM is a notice to airmen. We published a NOTAM yesterday following the directive from government to alert all airlines that starting from today, at 1 p.m. I think 1 p.m. or 1:30. There's no time to in front of it, but I remember it is early afternoon. We are not going to admit persons described before. Persons who are not Ghanaians, who do not reside in Ghana. That is, people who do not have Ghanaian residency and who may be coming from an endemic country. That is, countries with more than 200 coronavirus cases will not be allowed into the country. So it was within our right to turn such people back.
And so far, just to confirm, 3 flights, individuals on 3 flights have been affected and they've been asked to return. The flights have to take them back.
Yes, that was a basic directive that if the airlines were not supposed to bring such people into the country, and so if you bring the person into the country, you have to take the person back.
And in terms of the actual identification of these individuals, did the the airlines themselves report that they have these individuals on their flight and then alerted you, or you have to physically then examine them on the flight before the touchdown actually left the plane? How are the mechanics of that working?
Well, there's no mechanics. The directive was that such people were not supposed to be allowed to board any flight into Ghana. But of course, we are not relying on the airlines to implement the directive. And therefore, when the flight comes, we will examine each passenger, and if any passenger fits the criteria of individuals who are not supposed to be allowed into the country, we will deny them access. We will send them back.
This is at the point of, this is at the point of engagement with the immigration officials who are obviously will already be checking passport, etc. Exactly.
So there's not any new arrangement when it comes to the actual checking, but the directive says if somebody is not a resident, if someone is a Ghanaian and they are coming from an endemic country, we don't allow the person in. It's as simple as that.
But the concern then is if there's a suspicion that these persons may or may not have the COVID-19 and they've come into contact with those who are allowed to come into the country. They were on the same flight with them. What then happens to those who have been allowed to disembark when you have actually told the others to go back to where they are coming from? How does it work? Explain to us.
But I don't know. I don't know whether I can explain everything to you, but we have adequately communicated to airlines that they are not supposed to bring certain people into the nation. So if you bring such people here, the airline will be asked to take the people back. It is that simple. And of course, we are not saying that anyone who is coming from any of the endemic countries will carry the virus. But it is a directive. We are trying to protect the nation by making sure that possible people carrying the virus will not enter the country. It is that straightforward and simple.
Well, it looks like we'll leave it now. But just finally, before we let you off, do we know how many persons, in terms of figures, that have been turned away so far? Maybe finally you can give us that.
I don't. I cannot tell you everything, but I did mention that one person will turn around on Delta. I believe Emirates will turn around 13 people. But, I mean, the numbers will come out in due course. We have all the figures. I'll not rush to commit myself to numbers, but we will publish the numbers in due course. Okay?
Very well. We are grateful for your time there. That's the director of the Ghana Airports Company interacting.
Let me quickly go through the actual text of the government directive on this, and so that if you're affected, just pay attention, because there's no need to pay money to fly into Ghana and then just be turned away. I'll also give you details of what Europe and other countries are also doing, so you also don't get on the plane, try, because I've heard in the report we just played, we had people say they want to travel into Germany, etc. Germany, as part of the European bloc, also have their own travel restrictions. You can't travel from Ghana into Germany, and that is possibly going to happen very soon. I'm going to go through that for you quickly. This is what the government of Ghana said, and it's taking effect today. Any traveler except for Ghanaian citizens, and persons with Ghana residence permits who within the last 14 days has been to a country that has recorded at least 200 cases of COVID-19 will not be admitted into the Ghanaian jurisdiction. So pay attention to that. Airlines are instructed not to allow such persons to embark. Border posts are instructed not to allow such persons into the jurisdiction. Then there will be a mandatory 14-day self-quarantine for persons who are otherwise allowed to enter the Ghanaian jurisdiction. So that if you're a Ghanaian citizen and you're coming into Ghana and you come from one of those countries that recorded cases, you will be mandatory. So you don't have a choice in the matter. By force, 14 days self-quarantine for you. Guidelines for self-quarantine will be available at the various Ghanaian ports of entry. Enforcement protocols are being deployed in collaboration with state security and health authorities. Persons determined to be unable to satisfactorily self-quarantine will be quarantined by the state. Okay. In other words, if you can't do it yourself, the state will do it for you. I mean, you know, so it has to be done. We'll put you in the room and lock you up and feed you for 14 days to make sure that you don't carry the virus and spread it in Ghana. And all this takes effect from today. And so just bear that in mind. And so if you're Ghanaian, you arrive, you'll be allowed to embark. But if you're coming from any of these countries, that is what will happen to you. It says any admissible traveler who exhibits symptoms of COVID-19 will be quarantined and tested upon reaching Ghana. So also bear that in mind. You'll be tested. I want to quickly also, just for public education, and I've heard, it's because I heard in the report that people said they're going to travel to Germany. As of tonight, the Guardian newspaper and the international media, the international wires are reporting that the EU is set to endorse the strictest travel ban in its history, as France joined Italy and Spain in full lockdown. The EU leaders are expected today to suspend all travel into passport-free Schengen zone by non-EU nationals for at least 30 days. So if you are not part of the Schengen group, you cannot go into Europe for 30 days if that is approved. We're going to check the latest on this very shortly. And this is the bid to instill uniformity across the bloc after some member states, including Austria, Hungary, the Czech Republic, and Poland, unilaterally began imposing border checks. So pay attention to this as well, because if you want to travel into Germany and they've imposed this, you'll be turned away when you get to Germany. Well, whilst we're talking about traveling, there's a scramble for acquisition of passports in the country, and there's a statement also from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration regarding the temporary measures they've put in place regarding the acquisition of passports. So they're telling us to note that only
passport applications with proof of emergency will be attended to for the next 4 weeks at all passport centers across the country, beginning today, Tuesday, March 17, 2020. So all in the bid to curb the spread of COVID-19. So if you want to acquire a passport at this time, take note that you need to give a proof of emergency for you to be attended to before you can acquire a passport now. For the next 4 weeks, that's the measures in place. We head to the Ashanti region now because as part of the directives also, it looks like everybody is trying to adhere to the directive as put out by the president. The Mensah Palace has also announced the suspension of its major traditional ceremonies as well as the closure of the Mensah Museum as a precautionary measure against the spread of the coronavirus. Erastus Saridonko joins us with more on this. The Mensah Palace say how long this directive will last?
No, it has not put a timeline to it. It says it's in line with the president's directive that people should not be congregating, and so they are suspending all traditional ceremonies that attract large numbers of people. So we're talking about Kwasidai, Ukudai, and some adjudication of cases at the various palaces that attract people to the Mensah Palace, courtesy calls that have more than 25 people and all that. And in line with this, the Mensah Museum, which attracts foreigners and Ghanaians alike, has also been closed down temporarily.
Well, was there any mention of how enforcement will be done? Do we know, are we working in connection with the KMA or there's a special task force to ensure that this is done?
Well, this was announced by the Otunforce Marehine Bafo Shaman Brintu, who himself is a medical director and he's in charge of some of these things. He's a member of the Metro Health Committee on COVID-19 as well, and was part of the tour led by the Mayor of Kumasi, Honorable Osesi that led us to Mensah, and he spoke to us about this thing. And so they are coordinating all this already. All these are in force already. And today, for instance, you could have seen many people thronging to the Mensah Palace, but it was very quiet and very silent. The Mensah Museum itself is closed totally, and so nobody is allowed entry through those gates into the area or the yard of the Mensah Palace itself.
I mean, Rastus, I need to ask you. I mean, we know weekend is approaching, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We know Kumasi becomes a hotbed of a lot of funeral and funeral-related activities. Has that even come up in the official discussions at Mensah and among the Metropolitan Assembly there? What's the talk in town?
Well, so the talk in town is about that as well. People have been talking about the fact that churches are closed, but nightclubs are allowed to operate. They are also talking about funerals, that people need to stop conducting funerals where large numbers of people are trooping to these areas. Bafo Chairman himself, Otunforce Marene, has also added his voice to it. He says that if he wishes that people will not be congregating for funerals, and that people restricted to private burials and private observance or some of these things, and people will not be touching even when they meet at these funerals.
Thank you very much, Erastus. Erastus reporting from the Kumasi, the Ashanti Regional Capital. Let's come to Greater Accra and to the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. The Assembly says it has teamed up with the police to ensure that the president's directive on huge public gatherings, banning huge public gatherings, is adhered to in the wake of the coronavirus. Now,
the AMA says it's begun public education in areas in the capital to create awareness about the disease, even as it rolls out measures to halt its spread. Let's hear from the City Mayor, Mohammed Ni Ajesoa.
Our main effort also serves as a location where people also come to register marriages and organize their gatherings. And we're saying that as much as we are not preventing people to marry, we are restricting the marriage ceremony to only the couples and their witnesses to come and sign, or else you then have to postpone your marriage. But to take it also into the communities, especially our market as well, We have lots of public toilets in Accra.
It looks like there's going to be a lot of help in terms of marriage receptions and all. But let's join. We've been joined on the phone by Mohammed Nia J. Soa himself, the city mayor. We're grateful for your time here on Newsnight. So let's talk first about your teaming up with the police service to ensure that we are all adhering to the president's directive. That's the religious bodies, funerals and all. How is it going to be done? Is it already enforced? Tell us a bit about it.
Well, thanks for having me, and let me say a very good evening to your listeners. Let me say that we roll out quite a number of interventions to curb the spread of the coronavirus, and one of it is what you had mentioned. Let me also state that a directive from the national office, all assemblies are supposed to quickly constitute or activate your public health emergency response team to deal with this pandemic. And in line with that, we've constituted alerts, and that includes the police, the security agencies, and the Metro Health Directorate. It's providing us with all information that we are taking up. One of the things that we've spoken about is the fact that the social gatherings that are supposed to be limited, and especially in most of the communities in Accra, where social gatherings is very common, and then including roadblocks. We are teaming up with the police to ensure that some of these things are totally out, so that we will not be able to countenance some of these things in these times where we are. Indeed, the Metro Public Health Directorate had also indicated to the police that some of the contact traces that they are doing, there are certain locations when they get there, people become agitated and resist, and sometimes it becomes very problematic, and they want the police also to assist them so that they put everybody into a very safe condition. So these are some of the things that we are actively working with the police to ensure that everybody is safe in the city.
Grateful for your time. That's the Mayor of Accra, Mohammed Nia J. Soa. Strict enforcement, we all need to adhere to it to prevent the spread of COVID-19. We'll head to the borders shortly, where residents in Ahima, Krum, Mensah, Krum and Plywood, all in Bia East districts of the Western North region, are in fear of contracting the fast-spreading coronavirus because of the border to La Côte d'Ivoire is deepening their fears. Is the easy access to and fro from the border by travelers without proper screening. Let's hear from Adom FM's Augustine Bois, who's been speaking to some of the residents.
Looking at the conditions here, we were expecting the government to put measures in place. But as we are talking, there is nothing like that. People from Côte d'Ivoire, that's every coast, they just troop in without any checks. In fact, this has created fear and panic. So we are urging the government to put measures in place so that those from Côte d'Ivoire coming into Ghana, they are well checked and screened.
We can't restrict somebody's movements, and we don't know who are going and who are coming. So we are pleading with the government to put on the right measures.
There is nothing like sanitizers, materials, or any other measures that we have put in place to get rid of all these things. So we are just asking that the government should come in assistance to help us.
Before it's difficult to get even the alcohol, so you won't help and so that you can do things up to protect ourselves from it.
Well, on the other hand, the Bia East Health Director Timothy Kobna Ofori complains that despite help from the District Assembly to educate residents, there are inadequate logistics to fight the spread.
We have a peculiar situation in some of our communities that share borders with La Côte d'Ivoire. A community like Mensah, community like Ahima, a community like Plywood. Ivorians are living in one community with Ghanaians. They have the same place of worship, they have the same clinic, they do everything together. The only thing that you recognize or will show you as a border town is just an electrical pole that divides our two communities. We, as the health directorate, have asked one of our staff, with the help of the assembly, giving people infrared and some personal protective equipment, to support in that border town to do some screening. But I'm asking, in such situations, we need more help.
Well, that's the district health director in the Bia East area, Timothy Kobina Ofori.
Well, a short while ago, we received a statement from the police and signed by Sheila Kefsi Abeye Backman, Superintendent of Police, Director of Public Affairs, and the police is also announcing a series of measures they are rolling out and have rolled out internally and also externally in terms of what they're going to do in the wake of the threat posed by the coronavirus. They say internally they've made arrangements for police personnel, including our civilian component, to receive sufficient education and knowledge on the pandemic, its spread, preventive measures, and what to do in case of suspicion of infection, both at home and in course of the work. Specific in-house briefings and arrangements have also been arranged. Now, if you go to police operational camps, in addition to the contingency arrangements made for the police personnel, residential camps for police operations are supported by the police medical teams. Now, this is important. If you are engaging with any police cell across the country, the police say cells will be regularly disinfected as much as practicable. Persons who have been remanded to police custody and those who have committed felony offences shall be kept in police cells. Fresh suspects will be screened before they are placed in custody. Now, police training schools also will go through this particular procedure, but the police is saying that police personnel have been encouraged to keep a distance of 1 meter in dealing with others unless the situation requires otherwise. The public is encouraged to cooperate in this regard for medical safety. And so if you're engaging with the police tonight, they've been instructed to keep a distance of 1 meter when you're dealing with you. So just bear that in mind tonight. In view of the COVID-19 and to ensure law and order, the police say the administration assures the public that it has availed its commands and structures for the needed support whenever they arise. And so this came in from the police administration tonight, as of course every institution in Ghana attempts to deal with this particular threat that has become a global pandemic. We've heard from the courts. A lot of measures have been taken there already as they attempt to deal with this. There's more. There's some developing angles to this that keep coming in that I want to share with you tonight. And as we updated on top story, if you check the official government website, it updates you on number of cases, but also number of contacts as of just a few minutes back. They have updated the Ghana Health Service website, and they have updated the number of confirmed cases. The number of confirmed cases have now risen to 7. And this is as at 17 March 2020 at 15:00 GMT. So this must have been 3 p.m. Emefa that this was updated, right? I mean, I checked this as well earlier, but I didn't see that earlier. But it's obviously been updated. So if you're just joining us tonight, there's an update on the number of confirmed coronavirus cases for Ghana. It has risen now to 7 cases. Ghana now has 7 cases, no longer 6. We don't have details yet as to the seventh case, who the person is, and where the person has been. Kojo Upon Kroma, the information minister, we understand, is expected to do a proper detailed briefing on this tomorrow to update us all on the details of the 7th case, and whether that case, a key thing to look out for is whether that case is also imported or not. We know all the 6 previous cases were all imported, Emefa.
So 2 minutes ago, there's a tweet from the Disease Surveillance Department of the Ghana Health Service on that particular page. That's the GhanaHealthService.org. There's a link to that tweet on Twitter. It says that this afternoon, 17th March 2020, we have received a report from the NMIMR that indicated one more confirmed case as positive. So it's on there. It's on Twitter. We're linking it to the Twitter page here. It's also there on Twitter. 6 minutes ago it was posted, and it says that we have received report from the NMIMR that indicated one more confirmed case as positive for COVID-19 in the Greater Accra region.
Okay, so this happened in the Greater Accra region. And so yes, that's the latest on this. The number of confirmed cases Ghana has now has risen to 7, and we also know that from the previous 6, when they did the contact tracing, they found 350 contacts, individuals that came into contact with the 6 previous cases. We don't know how many more this at the 7th case will add to that.
So we have some more details on who this person is. It says the case patient is a 35-year-old male, a Ghanaian citizen who returned to Accra from France within the past 14 days. This is another imported case which brings the total number of confirmed cases to 7. The case is being managed in isolation and is in stable condition.
Okay.
And with regard to the contact tracing that you've just been talking about, is a total of 350 contacts have been identified and are being followed up.
Okay, so that's an important update there. So this is also an imported case.
Yeah.
And we know France has a huge coronavirus infection also, and Macron had announced very strict measures, a strict 15-day lockdown, requiring people in France to remain at home, came into effect at midday on Tuesday, that's today, prohibiting all but essential outings in a bid to curb the coronavirus spread. It's a major issue in France. I want to quote Macron. He says, "We are at war, a public health war," he said on Monday, declaring a national lockdown to fight a virus that has already killed 148 people in France alone. It's killed 148 people in France alone and infected more than 6,000. And this is where this individual came from, the 7th case that Ghana has recorded. We're going to get more on this in the morning, understand from the Information Ministry on this. So listen to Newsstand on Joy 99.7 FM. Details on business shortly.
Your success, our passion.
So how the thing end? My God. So we video call like 2 minutes. Then now she say make I take over and meet them. But Charlie, as I hang up where I Rexy, my data finish. See, I roam I no get data back. So after they come look for another phone.
Hey my guy, hold up. You see why you for use Vodafone?
I be all be the same data.
Who tell you? Now with Vodafone, whether you get data or not, you go free use the Uber app with no data charges at all.
Hey, this one?
Oh yeah. Now Vodafone the Uber partner. So even if you get data where you use the Uber app, then they tell you anything. Where if you no get data safe, Charlie, you the free use the Uber app. Simple. No data matter bia. Where the be safe be say, as you the use the app, you the free get free ride. Where it come with some champion discount. You can now order your Uber ride at no data cost and stand a chance to enjoy free rides and amazing discounts. Switch to Vodafone today.
The future is exciting. Ready?
Hey, I say, mix the cement in correct proportional.
Hey, contractor.
Hey, Buccaneer, what's your soul?
Yeah, Malande. Sorry, I say. When you attend the year of return and casa.
Hey, Hey, contractor, a danya wasting here. Hey, what push mama me feeling too much?
Who project here? Me friend a gas them from top to down. If you are a gas them.
Hey, yes, solid pa.
Hey, you see gas them man. If for soup you know what do. On your quality no question. Extra gas them cement biara. I will cook a crab be. Over 5,000 plus communities. And a gas them I donations am on. SC schools. I build the clinic. No one packaging now. What's Shadara and environmentally friendly.
Never compromise on quality. Choose the value Gassem offers you always. Gassem, the nation builder.
Welcome back to Business on Newsnet. And coming up in the headlines, government working on a stimulus package to support industries as the coronavirus hits their operations. And some nightclubs and hospitality centers has announced their voluntary shutdown despite being given some relief by government in terms of the crackdown on public gatherings. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of Business Kingdom. Books and stationery, your number one stop shop for all your office essentials. And First National Bank, we are the bank that understands your business. First National Bank, how can we help you? It has been 25 years of joy and breaking those big business news to our listeners out there.
My family loves visiting me. Because I've got the super reliable and super fast 4G plus MTN Turbonet.
Everything is downloading so
And
fast.
with this super fast MTN Turbonet, it's non-stop fun and entertainment for the whole family at my house.
Wow, I finally Grandma, this is so amazing.
Connect your home and entertain your family at the speed of yellow. Get an MTN Turbonet today and stay connected to the things that matter most. Only on Ghana's fastest network. Dial *5057# to purchase an internet bundle today. We day for you everywhere you go.
Mr. Bar has big dreams for his business, Bar & Co. Limited, and his family, making them a reality man to long drives and queues. He's lost precious time struggling to pay his suppliers in China, Turkey, India, and other parts of the world. With the First National Bank global payment via our online banking enterprise, he now pays for all that in the convenience of his home or office, giving him time to focus on family and growing his business. Use our online banking enterprise to access Forex when you need it. It takes a bank that does more to help your family. So who's helping yours? First National Bank. How can we help you?
Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, government says it is working on a stimulus package to support industries and businesses in the country. This is part of several measures government is putting in place to actually lessen the impact of the coronavirus on businesses and industries. Finance Minister Kenneth Fureta disclosed this when he briefed Parliament on measures being put in place to mitigate the impact of this virus on the economy. Meanwhile, Deputy Minister of Finance Charles Dubois has been giving us more details about this package. He spoke in an interview with my parliamentary correspondent, Joseph Opoku-Gapo.
Still trying to evaluate and analyze exactly, the industries that will be most impacted adversely and positively by this whole coronavirus thing, taking a cue as to what is happening in the West, but also recognizing that we may have to tropicalize the impact given our different temperate environment. But definitely something that we are working on and we are looking at. Also, Bank of Ghana is in the process of putting together a package themselves as to some of the initiatives and the steps that they would like to take or suggest to help alleviate the pressure, improve the liquidity, and also make measures to help, augment some of the challenges we are facing.
Okay, so what's the projection in terms of how badly the coronavirus situation may affect the economy generally?
There definitely will be a fiscal impact. As to how intensive it may be, we are still trying to really analyze that and really measure and estimate the total fiscal impact. But undoubtedly, even just from the oil price depreciation alone, as you may recall, I think we did our budget at a price of about $63, if I'm not right. Right now, the price is at $33. So you can see there already almost like a 50% discount on the price of crude. That will flow through the budget specifically. Of course, unlike Nigeria, I believe only about 6% of our total revenue is from crude oil receipts. So the translation into our budget, or it's not as profound as it would be in Nigeria, where, for example, crude oil receipts account for about 90% of their revenue. So luckily for us, due to our more diversified economy, we are benefiting from that. And in fact, gold prices have appreciated recently, which balances the effect of the lower crude receipts. So
Deputy Minister of Finance Charles Dubois speaking to parliamentary correspondent Joseph Opoku Gapo. In a related development, Finance Minister Ken Oforiatta has confirmed that he will be relying on the Stabilization Fund and World Bank support to deal with the funding gap caused by the coronavirus, as well as declining crude oil prices. Finance Minister gave this advice when he briefed Parliament. He says that petroleum revenue, tourism and foreign direct investment will be affected badly as a result of these developments. He's also told Parliament that some $8.9 million was spent in printing the new 100 and 200 Ghana cedi notes. These were all captured in the response that he gave to Parliament. He says that so far about $5.39 million have been spent on this already. Now, some hospitality centers, events, and nightclubs are going ahead to carry out a voluntary shutdown. Now, this is despite being given a window of opportunity to operate after government announced the public ban on gathering. For instance, Bloom Bar, Tosu, Lunabad, Airport, Sandbox, and Silverbed have all communicated to the public that they are shutting down. It is not clear what has influenced the decision, whether it's ahead of any government announcement of a crackdown of these places. Now, oil exploration firm Tullow says it is optimistic that its new turnaround strategies would help put the company on a strong footing. Tullow Oil last week announced a series of measures aimed at addressing the troubling state of the company. Now, some of them are aimed at downsizing the operations of the company. Now, speaking in engagement in London with investors, Executive Chair and Acting Chief Executive Dr. Thompson says the much in the turnaround would happen very soon.
Government relations have remained a very high priority for us, as well as all stakeholder relations and stakeholder relations in country. It's been an area of focus for me because it's very important at these times of change. But I would also want to say that we really do remain very committed to our shared prosperity strategy, and that very much is at the heart of Tullow's purpose. We have changed our financial strategy, and Les is going to tell you more about that, but the key change is going forward we will have a more conservative strategy for the capital structure, and we have identified clear options for portfolio asset management to deliver that more conservative structure. We also have a new exploration strategy. It's really a more focused strategy than the previous strategy, and Mark is going to walk you through that as well.
That is the Executive Chair and Acting Chief Executive of Tullow Oil, Dr. Thompson, speaking at an investor engagement in London on strategies aimed at turning around the operations of Tullow Oil. And that's all for business on Newsnight. Back to you, Emefa.
Thank you very much, George Riafe. We have some tips shortly that we'll give you on coronavirus, and also the perception that Akpeteshi can prevent coronavirus. We'll look at it as the FDA speaks about it, plus some of your comments that you've sent in via WhatsApp as we record the 7th case of COVID-19 in Ghana. But we have sports. Benedict also has the latest. There's a lot happening on that front as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Euro 2020 has been postponed by 1 year until 2021 because of the pandemic. European football's governing body made a decision during an emergency video conference involving major stakeholders. Now, the tournament due to take place from June 12th to July 12th this summer will now run from June 11 to July 11 next year, and the postponement provides a chance for European leagues that have been suspended to be now completed. Also, the Chan tournament, which was supposed to happen next month in Cameroon, is suspended. They've not set a new date, but will monitor the situation and take a decision. Back home, Ghana Premier League Vice Committee Chairman, that's Jesse Japan, has been speaking about the impact of the coronavirus on our football.
The concern has been putting the game on hold, and what that means, one, in terms of sponsor interest, what that means in terms of commercial engagement at the park itself. And I can say for a fact that we're having a lot of discussions about the game, including taxation deductions so far as match tickets are concerned, how much every host team gets out of the total money that are actually raised. So these are major discussions at the committee level that we actually having to ensure that we can put forward a good fight that ensure that the clubs are making as much money as possible. And then boom, this actually comes up. So this more or less, to somebody it might look like it gives us a window to clear the administrative things that we need to clear. But from a playing body perspective, it actually affects a lot. And we're actually hoping that whatever happens at the global level, we might get some good indications that look, things may taper off a little bit to enable us get back into the stadium again. But for now, it's a worry. But we are hoping that it will clear within the 4-week window that the president actually did hope that it would actually clear.
Well, that's JC Japan. He is vice chairman of the new Premier League committee, still on COVID-19, and Juventus have announced that Bless Matuidi is their second player to test positive after Daniele Ugani. Well, that's his sports, guys.
Thank you very much, Benedict Evans Mensah. This was yours. I knew God is in control. We'll take some of your messages now. This one says, so far, so good. The President and the Ministerial Committee are doing a good job on the coronavirus. But I want to plead with the general public, especially natives of Keta, to take government's directives seriously and stop the politics they are involving in this. By the mercies of God, we should overcome in Jesus' name. Amen. And that's of righteous in Abotia Koffer in Keta. And this one from Charles Edu from Gumwa, German. He says, let us all scale down our public engagements and outings, even if it is officially sanctioned one. No one has acquired immunity to the virus. Let's all be on guard. Stay home, save lives. Say it again. Who is this, Charles Edu?
Well, there's one from Masaudu in Bantama. It's asking a very relevant question. Just thinking, how can one practice social distancing in a trotro?
Okay, so that one came without a name, but Masaudu is saying that he would want to urge the public to obey the rules and regulations by the president to avoid the spread of COVID-19, because this deadly virus is a movement and stronger than apartheid. Making reference to Nchukwesiako and apartheid.
Benny Moore in Accra says, I am particularly baffled by the claim of the minister, the information minister, that 2 Italians have been denied entry into Ghana. My concern is, what about the other passengers on board? Because if it turns out that these 2 people are infected, it means all other passengers on board must be isolated. Well, the thing is, they're turning you away not because they suspect you have it, but because you come from a country where they have more than 200 plus cases, and so that is it. And of course, what we understand is once you enter, they do the screening. If you are exceeding the temperature, the threshold, they will definitely quarantine you, as we've been told. There's a mandatory quarantine that you have to go through. So,
like you said, by force, you have to do it.
If you don't do it, the state will do it for you.
Yes. Now, this one from Noah in Tema says, we'll take the final one from him. He says, most of the times our leaders respond slowly to some information. How and when were these people tested positive entered into the country is his concern. He says, we do not need to speak with words about what to do. Which months, weeks have those people been in this country? In fact, it's sad. But God is always our shield. Ghanaians, we can pray, and that's good. And people are very prayerful at this point. Like you said, we need to be each other's keeper. But in the meantime, you need to wash your hands regularly under running water. And it's a good time to bring in our tips from Carex Ghana.
Okay, and then Carex is helping us consistently tell you what you have to do. And tonight I want to quickly focus on how you can prevent spread of COVID-19. Avoid touching your eyes, nose and mouth, especially if you haven't washed your hands, to prevent transfer of the virus to your system. I must admit, this is sometimes very difficult. Yeah. Yesterday on my show, I had a professor there with virology. It's almost as if any time you think about, I shouldn't touch my face, and you're somewhere on your face that itchy.
It's a human thing. When you're told not to do something, that's what you want to do.
Goodness me. Now, clean surfaces that you touch often with disinfectants such as Camel antiseptic.
Of course.
Make sure you and the people around you cover your mouth and nose with your elbow. That is, if you don't have a tissue. But if you have a tissue, use it.
And,
okay,
and
when you
dispose
cough
of it immediately.
or sneeze, and dispose of the tissue safely afterwards. Safe, don't just throw it around. Safely. I mean, the women know this better.
Yeah.
Maybe you should give us a tip, because that is absolutely important. Disposing it of safely.
In a bin.
You have to in the bin, probably put the rubber around it. I don't know what it is, but safely. Avoid close contact with anyone who is sick, and stay home if you feel unwell. Now that is one that the HRs, the human resource people, must pay attention to seriously. Avoid close contact with anyone who is sick. Anyone who is sick.
Sick.
And stay home if you feel unwell. Okay.
What is unwell?
Unwell is unwell. If you are coughing, you're sneezing, you are sneezing. It's important. Stay home if you feel unwell. Seek medical attention immediately if you have a fever, cough, and difficulty breathing. Please do not take.
Hold your breath for 10 seconds. 10 seconds. Okay, you didn't cough, so.
No, I mean the thing about me is, I like swimming. I can stay on the water. I can do like 4 laps and come out. So
I think you shouldn't don't swim tonight, and then tomorrow we'll
I've been doing that. I think it will take me a long time to relapse.
But we are told that it's not scientifically proven though, but we'll check with the doctors. But we are told that if you're able to hold it for 10 seconds and you don't cough or anything, it looks
we
like
need to check that. One of those myths making rounds, I guess. Let's check with one of those professionals.
Yeah, we'll have to check with them. Now, following the outbreak of the coronavirus, of course, and the directive, churches have resorted to Facebook Live and other social media platforms to encourage their members. Joining us, Dr. Fifi Kumsin monitored the address by the Archbishop Duncan Williams and those of others, and has come through with this report.
I will be and know you.
The choir of the Action Chapel International sings to prepare the atmosphere for an address by the founder, Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams. The Archbishop says the outbreak is only a fulfillment of prophecy.
I don't believe that this is designed to hurt you or to hurt me, but it's part of the events of the end time.
But he encourages his members to stay firm and faithful to God, declaring 30 days of fasting and prayer for the nation.
The Lord is good, a stronghold in the day of trouble, and he knoweth them that trust in him. I challenge you within these 30 days to trust in the Lord like never before.
The Lighthouse Chapel International will also connect to its members via Facebook Live. This morning, there was a prayer session to which thousands of members were connected.
Oh, yes, yes.
Many other churches, including the Gospel Ambassadors Church, La Paz branch, have rolled out similar services. Reverend Kennedy Bentum is head pastor.
Online service must be encouraged by all churches so that we will not leave the flock that God has given us to shepherd to go astray, or for that matter, unattended to.
The Pentecost Church and the Royal House Chapel have rolled out similar services. That may be the case in Ghana, but it's even bigger in the United States of America. Pastor of the Porter's House Mega Church, Bishop T.D. Jakes, has some words of comfort for his members.
We want you to be covered. We want you to know that we're praying for you. We want you to know that we're standing beside you. And as long as there's a way in the world to provide ministry to you, we will continue to do that in whatever format we can.
So, the church is now online. Get connected.
It's your church online now.
Of course, we've always been online, Potter's Family Chapel.
So Sunday service is going to be exclusively online.
Of course.
How are you going to do collections?
Momo. It's part of a service. You need to give offering unto God.
Okay.
And it still has to happen.
Well, let's see how the church survives in this time of
we will survive.
crisis.
God is in control.
Absolutely.
And the church will stand the test of time.
The church is always, in fact, that's what the church does best.
Of course.
And so, of course. Keep hope alive. Let's come together. Encourage one another.
And it's a time to pray and stick together as well.
Absolutely.
God is in the
absolute control. But we also encourage the health professionals, the government, to do what they have to do. The monies they promised, release them. The details we're asking for provided. And then you expect everybody to work together to fight this.
God keep us all. And that's it for tonight's edition of Newsnight. Thanks for your company. I am Emefa Apawu, and I've been here with Mensah. The Geek Squad are up next.